Rory Beasy. Let's go with Rory Dollard.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Rory.
Hi. Another tricky kind of you pulled one out the fire a bit there again, not for the first time. What does it tell us about this side of yours that it's becoming something that you do semi-regularly?
I think more than anything, it shows the character in the dressing room. I think it's probably our strongest trait. And there's always belief there that we can go and win games from positions that we're not expected to. And I think today showed a huge amount of skill from a batting group on a very challenging surface, in a position where we were right up against it. Two lads in particular stood up and created a partnership which was full of skill, it was full of mental strength, it was full of awareness of different passages of play, and I thought they managed that extremely well and got us into a position where the game was pretty much done by the time it was finished.
With the sort of uneven bounce that Ben and Ollie got in particular, did you at any point, just looking on at the state of the pitch, did you think it was gone?
Well, it's certainly not the kind of wicket that we expected when we turned up on Monday. It's not, or Sunday night. It's not what we anticipated would be there. Probably wouldn't be our favoured choice of a surface to play against Pakistan on. But I think what you have to do if you want to be a consistent side around the world and to string wins together over long periods of time, you're going to have to be adaptable. And I think today we showed that after 3 days of being behind the eight ball and behind the game, we managed to find a way to win. And sometimes that strength of character is what can do that. That's what gets you back into a game, and we showed that in abundance today.
And is what Doss produced today, is that what you've been telling us about these last few weeks, that sort of the special innings that is in him, was that the example? Yeah,
it was. It's been there. It's been coming for a while, I think. He's that sort of player. You put him in a pressure situation. Look back at a one-day game not long ago against Australia on this very ground. He got us across the line when we had no right to. You look at the World Cup final, him and Ben's partnership won us that final. And it's the sort of player he is. He'll stand up, he'll read the situation and the game very well. He's got a very calm head. And I thought he managed it extremely well with Woakesy out there. I thought the two of them were fantastic.
Okay, we'll go with Julian and then John, please. Julian Geyer, John Etheridge.
Hello, Joe. About Joss's innings, he'd had a tough time keeping with him. And yet, there's no respite for a keeper having a bad match. You can't, it's not like a bowler you can rotate. So what does it say about Joss that he was able to play that sort of in after having a tough time with the gloves?
Shows how mentally strong he is. More than anything, really. And it shows how skillful he is. We read the conditions well. We spoke this morning about having a real clear way of how we're going to play on that wicket and then being confident enough to go and commit to it. And I thought those two epitomised that in the way that they played. I thought they were outstanding. And, he led that partnership for the majority of it and was extremely well supported. And you look at some of the deliveries that had gone before it as well, to be able to park that, to stay very calm and counter that, shows the talent that both of them have.
Thank you.
Okay.
John, please.
Yeah, Joe, similarly, Chris has had a few issues, I suppose, with his batting. Just looking up, since that 100 at Lords 2 years ago, his previous top score was 37, which is quite surprising, I suppose. So how did he manage to find some run scoring today?
It was long overdue then, wasn't he? You watch Chris play and you know that he's more than capable of scoring at least 3 or 4 more Test hundreds. His game's definitely there. He's a fantastic. Well, he's got all of the attributes you'd want. He played spin extremely well today. He's very clear how he wanted to go and play Yasir in particular. And I thought he managed to seam us very well on a tricky wicket. As I said, having seen those deliveries beforehand, to be able to park that, to have the presence of mind to stay slightly more leg side of the ball and trust his hands, just shows that, again, his experience over time and in international cricket, it's really paid off.
He's had a few issues with the short ball, I suppose. I mean, he was hit on the head in the first innings here, wasn't he? But I guess he managed to put that out of his mind.
Yeah, and an innings like this can give you so much confidence moving forward. And I think that he'll take that forward into the rest of this summer and beyond. Hopefully, when you're not at the end of the game, that's what you dream of as a batter or as an all-rounder, is making sure you're there and you win for your team. And for him, I think this will be huge. To be able to say he's dealt with the extremities that wicket provided and come out with a win I think it will give him so much confidence moving forward with his batting.
Cheers, thanks.
Thanks, John. George, please. George Lavelle.
Good day, Joe. Chris, there's a danger that Chris, I'm sure not by you guys, but there's a danger that Chris Woakes, I guess, could get overlooked because, Ben Stokes an incredible rounder, James Anderson, incredible swing bowler. But what do you think he brings to the squad? And even on those times when he's, been unfortunate to be left out, he's an incredibly good player to be left out, isn't he, so often? So what does he bring to the squad when he's in the team and not in the team?
Well, as I said, he's so consistent. On and off the field, you watch his performances, he generally is very consistent. He's very reliable. Mentioned it in the Test match when we were talking about Ben. He's Mr. Dependable. He's someone that you can always trust that he will deliver exactly what you want. And I think actually over time and over the last couple of years in particular, he's improving and he's become even more consistent. And his bowling's almost another level this last year. Getting a bit more exposure. I think he got a lot of confidence from performing well in abroad this winter, and his record at home speaks for itself. But you look at the competition for places, you could say that about anyone in terms of our bowling department. There's so many guys that continually put their hands up. It's always going to be a headache. But one thing you're going to get from Chris is consistency in the way he handles himself in and around the dressing room and his performances out on the field.
Thanks, George. Will McPherson and then Tim Wigmore.
Joe, you went with 4 specialist quicks in this game, and Ben played as a batsman until deep on day 3. Where are you looking ahead to Thursday? You've called up Ollie Robinson. Do you expect everyone to be fit? Are you going to have to be quite cute with how you juggle things? And I suppose, does the extra day help with the 4-day test?
The extra day definitely will help. I think we'll have to be quite smart as we were in the previous series, and we'll have to see how everyone pulls up. But thankfully we have got an extra day, and that might give us more options. But as I mentioned just now, we are in such a good position that there's so many great options. Feel that all bases will be covered, and we should have a very strong side, whoever it is and whatever the makeup is, when we start the test match down in Southampton.
Tim Wigmore, please.
Hi, Joe. Just on Joss, if his test record when he bats at 6 is quite a lot better than when he bats at 7. I just wondered if you had any theory on what that might be, and does he kind of step up with the extra responsibility?
I think it's hard to say, to be honest. I think one thing that I want to echo is how well he played today. The pressure that he probably put himself under more than anything, and that you find yourself in, is being able to manage that as well as he did today was outstanding. We've watched him practice in the previous 3 or 4 weeks in this bubble, and you watch him go about his business, and he's been exceptional, really. He's looked very good, and it's felt like a matter of time. I've said this on a few occasions. It's been around the corner, but I think more than anything now, for him to prove that to himself and to go and do it will fill him with a huge amount of confidence moving into the rest of the summer.
Is that like a template for how you want him to carry on playing in Test cricket?
Yeah, and there have been times, again, I've mentioned before, where he's been very selfless, and he's played the situation, he's done what was right for the team, and I think he did exactly that again today. I thought he did it for longer periods, and he managed to get us into a position where we could win, and that's really exciting for the team and for him individually.
We'll do Dean Wilson next, and then Andrew Miller, please.
Hi, Joe. Well played. Joss was really honest in a couple of his broadcast interviews earlier where he kind of suggested that the mistakes he made as a keeper weren't good enough, and if he's going to continue to play as a keeper in the team, he's got to be better. Can you kind of offer any reassurances on that front? I know he's played a wonderful innings with the bat, but his role as a keeper batsman, going forward, is that still very much how you see it, despite his modesty?
I think this innings will provide him with a huge amount of confidence in all aspects of his game, and I think he should really take that forward into the rest of the series. Now, I think you look at that, and you can really use that as a platform to go to another level, and it's infectious. When you're an all-rounder, you look at someone like Ben. If he doesn't perform with the ball, he'll come out and he'll score you 100, or he'll like this week, being able to turn the game at the back end of the innings like he did and have such an impact in such a short space of time. That's what all-rounders do, and that's what Joss has done this week. He might not have performed with the gloves, but he's made sure that we got across the line with a brilliant performance with the bat. And now that's the way he should look at it in my eyes. Take that confidence into the rest of his game and into the rest of the summer.
Thank you.
No problem.
Andrew Miller, please.
Hi, Joe. Offer cut a bit of a subdued figure at times this game. I mean, he had a comment on Sky the day saying that this wasn't a pitch to bend the back on, and also perhaps more pertinently sort of suggested he wasn't quite confident in his elbow injury yet. I mean, is there anything more that you guys can do to sort of reassure him? Is there too much expectation around what he can be, and how do you just help him? Obviously, he's had a tough time with the biosecure breach as well. I mean, how do you help him to sort of be what people perhaps expect him already to be at Test level?
I think just be very understanding that he's still very young in his Test career, and that there will be mistakes and there will be lessons to be learned. But as long as he's willing to learn from them and to keep looking to improve and get better, we will continue to see very special things from him. And now, just remember that under very high pressure at the start of his career, he's performed extremely well, and he's done very special things against Australia in an Ashes series, right off the back of a World Cup after a heavy workload. He's capable of winning games of cricket for England. There's no doubt about that. And he might have a quiet game every now and again, and he might not always get it right. But there will be times as well when he turns up and he'll win you a game in a session, and he'll turn a game on its head. And we've got to keep trying to encourage him to have that mindset, to have that confidence in his own ability. And when he gets an opportunity to really make an impact, to take that spell, grab it by the scruff of the neck and hammer it home, because he's more than capable of doing it.
I mean, there was a suggestion early in the career that you perhaps used him a bit too often. I mean, there were perhaps occasions in this game, I mean, Chris Woakes bowling a spell of short pitch bowling, and Stokes as well coming in to hit the deck late on that third day, that, perhaps that might have been Jofra's role. I mean, it does seem like there's a lot of different roles he can play. Is it obvious which role he should play?
I think obviously we all get very excited when he's operating up around 90 miles an hour, and certainly that will cause batters a lot of trouble. But there is more to him than that, and that we've got to understand that he has a bigger package to offer. But you also have to look at different passages of the game, and when guys have bowled and they need a little bit longer to get ready before they can come back. On that wicket, when it's two pace as it was, it doesn't matter who's bowling. If it's 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour, when it's as two pace as that, it's just as dangerous bowling short. It's just making sure you get it in the right area. And we went a different way on that occasion, and it worked for a period of time. So Jofra is a huge talent. We all know that, and he's not always going to get it right. He's very young still, and he's still learning. And there is definitely a lot of match-winning performances in him in the future.
Thanks.
Okay, we're going to take three more. Stefan, Saj, and then we'll finish with Ollie Martin.
Hi, Joe. This time last night, Chris Woakes was talking about the belief in the dressing room and how you can draw on things like the World Cup and heading league from last year. Does it feel like you can win from most situations, even though you probably wouldn't really want to find yourselves behind the eight ball in the way that you did here?
Well, yeah, it does. It does, actually. I think that having those experiences in the bank and being there and being able to upon those certainly does give you a huge amount of confidence that anything is possible. And as I've mentioned numerous times before, I think our biggest strength as a group and as a squad is our character, and never really giving up. We always look at how we can find a way to get back into the game. And today we did it brilliantly. I think for 3 days we were behind Pakistan in this game, and today we managed to get across the line, and that's going to give everyone a huge amount of confidence. And you look at the young batting group, to see us get across the line there and to have that under their belts now as well, and to see the guys operate in that fashion, 2 senior guys and experienced guys in Chris and Joss in particular, the young guys will see that and think, well, no, we've been a part of that now. We know what that looks like up close and personal, and we've been out there and we've been experienced it, and that will give them a lot moving forward. And it's banking these experiences and being able to then put them into your own game further down the line. And if we can continue to keep doing that, obviously we don't want to start in this position, and we don't want to keep finding ourselves having to wrestle our way back into a tie, but it's certainly great to have in the bank when things don't go your way initially.
Thanks.
No problem.
Sarge, please.
Hi, Joe. Going into the match today, what was the plan regarding the Pakistan bowlers? What was your assessment of them? Did you feel that Yasir Shah was the key for Pakistan, and that given the inexperience of the other bowlers, perhaps it would take one partnership for the heads to drop?
Hi, Sarge. I think actually what we spoke about was all about us as a team. We say we've got to have belief, we've got to show character, and we might have to ride luck on occasions. But if we have clarity in how we want to go and play individually, and then we commit to that, we'll give ourselves a great chance. And I thought you saw that in the way we played. I think it took some very good balls to get us out, the guys that did get out. And we also were aware that they were quite an inexperienced bowling group, and there was a lot of pressure on certain individuals, and that the longer we could build partnerships and stay out there, that things would fall back into our favour. And it did ebb and flow, but we knew that if we batted for long periods of time as a two, eventually things could work in our favour, and we did it very well.
And last question, Ali Martin, please.
Hi, Joe. I was just wondering, obviously, I think Jos Buttler had some issues away from the field in terms of his dad being unwell and stuff. I was just wondering how much you knew about that, and kind of how much he'd let on to you, and how much what it says about him that he was able to, again, put another thing on top of his keeping and his own performance, to put personal issues to one side as well. What does that say?
It says a huge amount about him as a person, to carry that and to be able to either use that or park that going into this innings. Only he will know which way around he did that, but I'm sure it's a very difficult thing not to think about. To be able to deal with that and still play in that manner was exceptional. And as I say, one of his big traits is under pressure, he puts in big performances. World Cup final being another example of it, and that final ODI against Australia on this very ground. He can deal with those high pressure situations, but to have that external pressure as well, I'm just a bit for him. It must have been very difficult for him to deal with.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. Have a good evening.
Cheers.